Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares. Welcome to another edition of Horrific Venoms, Alphabet of Doom. Now, this is the collaboration that I do with my very good friend Eric, Last Venom 76, where we do a two-part review. He takes care of part one, which is a martial arts masterpiece. I take care of part two, which is a horror recommendation. This week's letter is Q, and Q stands for Quarantine 2 Terminal. Now, Quarantine 2 Terminal is a 2011 film which runs approximately 86 minutes and is written and directed by John G. Pogue. The only thing I could find on him was the Hammer film, The Quiet Ones, which is a relatively recent film. It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It's definitely one I need to give another shot to. Definitely. This stars Mercedes Mason as Jenny. She was in Red Sands, which was not a bad film, and a ton of TV. This also stars Josh Cook as Henry. He was in Hail Caesar, The Opposite Sex, and also a ton of TV. And finally, Matty Liptak as George. He was in Free State of Jones, Maggie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Shadow People. Now, this movie had a budget of $4 million. And like its predecessor, I think I'm saying that right, probably not, like the movie before it. The movie is scored with sound effects during the credits. Although, this is not really like the first Quarantine. The first Quarantine is a found footage movie. This is just a regular film, which is one of the reasons why I like it a little bit better than Quarantine, the original. Now, a brief plot synopsis. This basically follows the life of two stewardesses who are on a flight, which it turns out, and how this is kind of keyed into the original Quarantine, is they're in a airport close to where the first Quarantine took place, in the apartment building. Now, there is a sick person on the plane, and of course you're going to think that every person who's sick is going to end up with rabies, or that's pretty much the virus that makes people go mad and kill people and all that kind of stuff. But it actually ends up being something different, and something that's tied with the very first Quarantine, which I'm not going to tell you. You kind of have to figure that one out for yourself. But from the plane, they end up, of course, getting locked down, like they did in the first one in the apartment building, by the government. And they end up in the warehouse where the bags are processed. This is a fun one. This is a really fun movie, and it's kind of depressing as well, because you're kind of pulling for some of these people. You kind of learn who some of these people are, and of course you have your jerks like you do in every other horror film, but you actually do have, some people that you sympathize with and that you're pulling for. And that's why it gets a little sad in some parts, but I'm not going to get into that. This is a fun movie. Like I said, this is a fun infection movie. I did one similar to this for What's in the Bag, Jay. It was Flight of the Living Dead, Outbreak on a Plane. And that movie was okay, but this one is so much better. I kind of love the whole plane setting in it and the whole warehouse setting. I think that's a lot of fun. So this one's a definite recommendation. If you've seen the first one, you'll know how they both tie in together. But you kind of don't need to see the first one in order to enjoy this one. This could be a standalone film, because they do explain how it ties into the first Quarantine. So So definitely check out Eric, who does part 1, where he's going to give you a martial arts masterpiece for Horrific Venoms, Alphabet of Doom. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.